Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by...
Meet your work and learn targets. Log on to My SLT app to activate.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Today, in celebration of Children's Day, we have organized a special program together with Methuli Chanitma from Sumeda College, Gampaha, and Tamiru Nimsat from Wesley College, Colombo. Let's have a look at the headlines first. President calls for support from creditors and stakeholders. Renewable energy sector faces imminent doom.
News in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said, amidst major economic stress, Sri Lanka is undertaking an unprecedented fiscal effort to restore the country's debt sustainability. The President made this comment while addressing the 55th annual meeting of ATB Board of Governors in Philippines.
The developments on the global stage have further aggravated the self-inflicted economic crisis in Sri Lanka, resulting in a political outburst that led to a change in government. Today, we have stabilized the economy, and many countries and stakeholders are keenly monitoring how we resolve this crisis. Many nations are keenly watching developments in Sri Lanka to see how we engage with all stakeholders in finding a solution to this multifaceted crisis. We are well aware that the evolution of Sri Lanka's economic crisis includes both domestic policy elements as well as external shocks. It follows that the resolution of the crisis also requires both domestic efforts and the support of external partners. It is incumbent upon Sri Lanka and our creditors and the partners to set an example of how collaborative and good faith action can result in sustainable and equitable solutions to sovereign debt issues. Towards this end, we have already undertaken major macroeconomic policy reform measures. I am pleased to inform you that we have now reached a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund on a 4-year program supported by the Extended Fund Facility. The program is aligned with the commitment of the government to implement an ambitious and comprehensive package of reforms that will help restore the sustainability of our public finances, addressing external imbalances, and restarting our growth engine through structural reforms and improvement in governance.
Speaking further, President Ranil Wickremesinghe detailed how the push for global dominance by emerging powers is leading to inaction on climate change.
Amidst major economic stress, Sri Lanka is undertaking an unprecedented fiscal effort as part of our commitment to restoring the country's debt sustainability. It's our hope and expectation that Sri Lanka's creditors and all stakeholders will support us in these efforts to restore our debt sustainability and help put the country back on the path of inclusive and sustainable economic growth. While Sri Lanka undertakes these deep and often painful reforms, we are experiencing rising unemployment and reduction in consumer purchasing power. The government is cognizant of the adverse impacts on the most vulnerable members of the society. Accordingly, every effort has been taken to allocate greater financing and resources towards targeted support for social protection. Asia has still to overcome the present global economic crisis. Unlike the financial crisis of 2008, in this instance, the economic levers alone are insufficient to stimulate global economic recovery. The factors underlying the main crisis is not only of economic origin, but are also the consequences of evolving geopolitics. The results being the absence of cooperation amongst the G20, unlike the earlier crisis. The Ukraine war on one side and the US-China rivalry, spurred on by military, trade and political differences on the other side, are key contributors to this breakdown in cooperation. Added to this geopolitical rivalry are the droughts, floods and pandemics which are still present in Asia. All these challenges are compounded by the absence of global leadership.
The Federation of Renewable Energy yesterday raised concerns of an effort to scuttle the progress of sector to boost profitability of Ceylon Electricity Board.
Addressing a media briefing in Colombo, Federation representatives remarked that on the back of an unfavorable tariff structure, its membership has not received payments for 10 months. It warns of a prolonged, more intense power crisis should the government and authorities continue to ignore the prospects of renewable energy. Had Sri Lanka's energy authorities not suspended connecting new mini hydro projects to the grid in 2015 and expanded solar and other renewable energy sources to 25% of grid capacity, the country would not face a massive power crisis, the Federation states. The renewable energy sector provides over 1,300 megawatts in energy to the national grid through mini hydro, wind, solar and biomass projects. This constitutes 14% of the current national energy mix that consumes over 17,000 gigawatt hours annually. Small hydro plants provide 426 megawatts of power, whilst roof-mounted solar contributes 627 megawatts and another 121 megawatts from ground solar systems. The Federation says renewable energy offers the best and speediest solution to the country's burgeoning energy crisis. It maintains that the decision by the Ceylon Electricity Board to halt the expansion of mini hydro and other renewable sources is costing the country over $800 million annually due to dependency of fuel and coal-powered plants. It costs 17 per unit rupees to generate a unit of electricity via renewable sources, whilst the cost spiked to 37.50 and 106 rupees for coal and fuel respectively. The renewable energy bill is currently only 5% of the Ceylon Electricity Board's total expenditure for generation, but they still continue to hold payments, lamented the Federation. The industry body also pointed out that due to non-payment by the Ceylon Electricity Board, some service providers have been forced to borrow at exorbitant rates to maintain operations. It added that banks have begun to list renewable energy sector as a high-risk segment, and this would augur badly to attracting new investments in the area. They said over 150 megawatts of small hydro projects are awaiting clearance, whilst there lies potential for 700 megawatts of rooftop solar systems. Despite the Ministry of Power calling for expressions of interest for projects above 50 megawatts and receiving 6,000 megawatts in applications, very little progress has been made on the matter.
Stay tuned. We will return after this commercial break.
Low latency, data bow one, data bow one.
A non-stop journey with Data Bow One from SLT Mobitel Home Broadband.
Welcome back. Yesterday, the American Center in Colombo has relocated to the new US Embassy building and opened its doors to program participants once again.
At a colorful opening ceremony, the new and revamped American Center in Colombo hosted library patrons, youth forum members and past-present program participants as well as program implementing partners. With an eye on providing Sri Lankan youth the tools they need to seize the future, the new American Center in Colombo shifted primary focus from being a library and program venue. It is now a space for collaborative learning and digital engagement, as well as a state-of-the-art location for technologies such as virtual reality and 3D printing. The American Center will continue to host programs such as English language training, public speaking, entrepreneurship development, coding, web development, media literacy, science, technology, engineering, arts and maths, and much more, all at no cost to participants. It will also continue to offer a space for Sri Lanka's youth, university students and friends of the United States where information is accessible, freedom of expression is celebrated and the freedom to assemble is supported. U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Julie Chung, joined the celebration and engaged with the patrons of the American Center. She remarked that after 3 years of mostly virtual programming, she and her team are grateful to be able to continue the tradition of freedom of expression and exchange in the beautiful modern space. She hopes that over the coming weeks, months and years, they see new and old friends coming together in the space provided by the American Center to co-create dreams, programs and fulfilling futures. Over the course of its 73-year history, the American Center has welcomed thousands of Sri Lankans seeking information about the United States of America and beyond. The American Center was first located at the Gold Face Court on Flower Road before shifting to the historic Sri Ramya at 44 Gold Road. With the passage of time and the expansion of the programs and activities being conducted by the American Center in Colombo, the center was moved to its current location, the new U.S. Embassy compound.
Sri Lanka should call for a national determination where all sectors of society come together to discuss fundamental issues, says Secretary of Defence General Kamal Gunaratne. The Secretary of Defence expressed these remarks during the inauguration of the 15th International Research Conference organized by General John Kotalawala Defence University.
According to the Secretary of Defense, this national determination should be one where all sectors of society, including civil organizations, security institutions, political entities and business associations, come together to discuss fundamental issues such as national identity, national reconciliation, transitional justice, governance structure and economic revival. This year's International Research Conference is held under a well-timed theme, which is economic revival, national security and sustainability through advancement of science, technology and innovation. General Gunaratne is of the view that this is an opportunity for a wide interaction and networking with national and international scholars in their respective fields, which would be beneficial for all participants to broaden their knowledge through intellectual discussion. Furthermore, he also highlighted that providing solutions to the country's most pressing matters of concern to improve the world's image of the Sri Lankan society, the government must take every step necessary to recover high priority initiatives in the fields of economy, institution building and political reform need to be given high priority. The Secretary of Defence emphasized how, with growing international interdependencies affecting Sri Lankan national security as well as recent concerns raised by economic and political implications, there is a recognized need for assessments of political risk to national security. The event also featured the launch of the National Digital Repository Center on Defence Studies by the chief guest.
Sri Lanka has been successful in jumping up the ranking on the 2022 edition of the Global Innovation Index, securing the 85th position in the world ranking and 5th in the regional ranking. The latest report released by the World Intellectual Property Organization, Sri Lanka saw its innovation ranking improving by 10 positions from what it was in 2021.
Sri Lanka is categorized under the lower middle income group and has performed in line with the level of development with regard to innovation developments. Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Bangladesh jumped up the ranking notably this year. However, only Pakistan has steadily gained position over time, whereas Sri Lanka has gone up and down the rankings. This year, it reclaims the 85th position, which it first held back in 2015. The GII 2022 tracks global innovation trends against the background of an ongoing pandemic, a slowing of productivity growth and other evolving challenges. Innovation investments thrived at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and boomed in 2021, but their continued resilience is uncertain for 2022 as the world meets new challenges. China, Turkey and India this year consolidate their position as global innovation powerhouses, while several developing economies are performing above expectation on innovation relative to their level of economic development. China now has the same amount of global top science and technology clusters as the United States. Contrary to what historic evidence would suggest, science and innovation investments were thriving at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and boomed in 2021, but their continued resilience is uncertain for 2022 in the face of new challenges. The indicators of the technological progress in the fields of semiconductor speeds, electric battery prices, the cost of renewable energy and drug approvals show a significant slowdown from long-term trends and even a decline in the case of drug approvals. Technology adoption is progressing with positive growth rates across technologies measured by the Global Innovation Tracker and in particular for electric vehicles. However, penetration rates are still medium to low, with the expectation of mobile broadband, which reaches the vast majority of the global population. Largely due to the short-term influences of the COVID-19 pandemic, the socio-economic impact of innovation seems to be at low point, with labor productivity and life expectancy experiencing a significant slowdown, if not coming to a complete standstill, and in the case of carbon dioxide emissions, failing to show ongoing reductions in pollution.
Stay tuned for stock updates.
Take it everywhere with SLT Go. Data Bowl 1, data Bowl 1.
A non-stop journey with Data Bowl 1 from SLT Mobitel Home Broadband.
Meet your work and learn targets. Get 30 GB Meet Lite for just 195 rupees and 100 GB Meet Max for 490 rupees. Log on to My SLT app to activate. SLT Mobitel.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The all-share price index dropped 20.41 points to close at 9,931.07, and the S&P SL20 dropped 3.57 points to close at 3,165.33. The turnover was 2.5 billion rupees and over 99 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. With that, we wrap up our Children's Day special. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Take care, have a great weekend, good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
Meet your work and learn targets. Log on to My SLT app to activate.
IWS Aviation.